You're listening to the Hour of the Time. I'm William Cooper. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got to tell you that today has been one of the most insane, coupled with yesterday, of course, periods of time within about 34 hours or so, 24 hours, 34 hours, somewhere around there, that I think I've ever experienced, aside from the Kennedy assassination on November the 22nd, 1963. Since then, this has been the wildest, craziest, most insane experience that I think I've ever had. You just don't know what's coming next. And you don't want to know. After a certain period of time, you find yourself saying, I don't want to know what's coming next. I watched yesterday as the clouds began to build, turn dark and ugly. Listened to the rhetoric bandied about. With the realization that the entire world is glued to CNN, watching an attack upon a small country in the Middle East, as if it were some Saturday morning softball game. Today I watched the clouds build even more and become darker and uglier. Then I saw the lightning flash. Then hail began to fall, and then I saw the funnel dip out of the cloud and head down toward the earth. that point, ladies and gentlemen, I looked around because I really didn't any longer know where I was. It certainly could not be the United States of America, nor any one of the several states that I understood made up the union known as the United States of America.
Where are we, Dorothy?
Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
And sure enough, ladies and gentlemen, we were not in Kansas anymore. I still don't know where we are. You see, not too long ago when William Jefferson Clinton first discovered that he was in deep trouble, he tried to instigate a war against Iraq for no reason whatsoever. He wanted to go to war with Iraq. He declared his intentions publicly. He sent his little Marxist, socialist, commie, puckered up socialists around to hold panel discussions in order to promote public sympathy for his war. It didn't work. While conducting their little charade, their little propaganda ploy at major universities across the United States, while it was being broadcast on major television, the students ridiculed them and shouted them down. They called it Clinton's racist war and said they wanted no part of it. Well, it is a racist war. The students were right. Where are they now? And so Clinton had to forget about that war. He had no public support. So he just let it fade away. And then, not too long after that, Saddam Hussein shut the door on the INSCOM inspectors. And Clinton once again rattled his sabers, threatened to go to war. Only this time he did not debate it in public, nor did he send out his little socialist, Marxist, commie, pucker-faced puppets to any universities, or anywhere for that matter. He just launched the planes, and nobody even knew they were launched until we were told they had just been recalled at the last moment that Saddam Hussein had backed down. You will remember that long before any of this began, I predicted that all of it would happen. On this broadcast and on our website. And it was back in 1997 that I posted to the website the Majesty 12 pages, which literally forecast the future and predicted absolutely what we are watching now. William Jefferson Clinton made a trip to the Middle East. During that trip, ladies and gentlemen, he conferred with the leadership of the nation of Israel. And I can tell you, quite frankly, because we're the ones who broke the story on our website and in Veritas, that the reason that the entire Monica Lewinsky revelations happened, and the reason that Clinton was propelled into the situation in which he finds himself at the present time, was because he had stepped on the toes of international Zionism. He was forcing Israel to do something that is politically impossible for Israel to do at this time, which was to turn over territory to the Palestinians, withdraw their people and their troops from those areas, and establish a Palestinian nation-state. Now, what I'm about to tell you has nothing to do with whether Israel is right in taking that position or whether they are wrong. That's not the issue here. The issue is that President Clinton was forcing it, with the political and military might of the United States behind him, and they warned him to back off. He refused. And that's when the Monica Lewinsky thing became public. That's when he was publicly embarrassed. That's when he had to begin to lie under oath in a deposition, under oath to the grand jury, in the answer to the 81 questions which he submitted to the Congressional Judicial Committee. And then he was going to be impeached. And I told you that if he found his back against the wall, there would be war in the Middle East. To either delay the impeachment or to prevent it from happening. He made a trip to the Middle East, to Israel, conferred with the leadership of international Zionism, came back to the United States, and within 24 hours, in concert with his Zionist friend Tony Blair in England, representing British Israelism, mounted a full-scale attack upon the nation of Iraq. The purpose, ladies and gentlemen, was to regain the favor of international Zionism and to delay or prevent the House of Representatives impeaching him, or even prevent bringing it to a vote until after the 5th of January, when the new Congress would be seated. You see, if he can just delay it for that long, once the new Congress is seated, there will be 5 more Democrats in the House of Representatives and 5 less Republicans, increasing his chances by 10 votes. Figure it out for yourself, folks. There would be 5 less voting against him and 5 more voting for him. It was a last-ditch effort. It was desperation. And it's not working. It is not working.
I could while away the hours, conferring with the flowers, consulting with the rain. In my head I'd be scratching while my thoughts were busy hatching if I only had a brain. I'd unravel every riddle for any individual in trouble or in pain.
With the thoughts you'd be thinking you could be another Lincoln if you only had a brain.
Oh, why, to tell you why, the ocean's near the shore. I could think of things I never thought before, and then I'd sit and think some more. I would not be just a number, my head all full of stuffing, my heart all full of pain. I would dance and be merry, life would be a ding-a-dairy if I only had a brain.
Wonderful. Why, if our scarecrow back in Kansas could do that, the crows would be scared to pieces.
They would? Where's Kansas?
That's where I live. And I want to get back there so badly I'm going all the way to Emerald City to get the Wizard of Oz to help me.
You're going to see a wizard?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think if I went with you, this wizard would give me some brains?
I couldn't say.
Won't you take me with you?
Why, of course I will.
Hooray! We're off to see a wizard.
Oh, well, you're not starting out very well.
Oh, I'll try. Really, I will.
To off?
To off.
We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. With you, he is the Wizard of Wiz, if ever a wiz there was. If ever a wiz there was, the Wizard of Oz is one because of the wonderful things he does. We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz.
And then, ladies and gentlemen, the House of Representatives, led by the new Speaker, Mr. Livingston, announced that they're not going to wait, that it doesn't make any difference if we have troops in the field, that it is wrong to prolong the impeachment proceedings, and that they will hold debate and bring it to a vote tomorrow on Friday, at the very latest Saturday. Public opinion at the same time, despite what you see on the communist news networks, is mounting against the war in Iraq and against William Jefferson Clinton. Do you think, if public opinion were in his favor, that all of the moderates would now be announcing their vote for impeachment? Not on your life. Don't fall for the brainwashing of the propaganda of the communist news networks. That is not the mood nor the sentiment of the country. If you look at William Jefferson Clinton on television, it looks like somebody hit him right between the eyes with a 2x4, and it's about time he came to his senses and looked at reality. And it's not anything to do with his worrying about how many people he's killing in Iraq, which are quite a few, by the way, all of them innocent. All of them. Even those in the military barracks, they are people conscripted from the populace and forced into military service by the Iraqi government. They don't want to be there. It's incredible. The leader of the Senate majority, Mr. Trent Lott, Senator Trent Lott, has announced that if the House votes on any one or several of the articles of impeachment, he will make no deal with the White House, and the Senate will proceed to a trial. Despite what is going on in Iraq or anywhere else in the world. And so, the Democrats came up in arms. All of the socialists in the country are crying and wailing and gnashing their teeth. And then they went after Speaker-elect Livingston. Just within the last hour and a half, it has been published that Mr. Livingston had several affairs during his 30-year marriage to his wife. This has been revealed by Democrats in an effort to say, look, see? Why are the Republicans going after the president when they're guilty of the same thing? You see, they still don't get it. It has nothing to do with any sexual affair that the president may have had with Monica Lewinsky or with anyone else, ladies and gentlemen. And this isn't going to work. It's just going to anger the Republicans. And it's liable to really anger a lot of good Democrats. You see, Mr. Livingston never lied about his affair under oath. He never lied under oath in a deposition. He never lied under oath to a grand jury. He never lied in the answers to questions presented to him by the House Judiciary Committee, all of which the President has done. He never, ever, ladies and gentlemen, obstructed justice, which the President has done. He never tampered with witnesses, which the President has done. He has never made it a secret. He has atoned for it. His wife knows all about it. And as soon as the story broke, he did not try to hide it or deny it. He fully admitted it. But watch for more of this to occur. Watch for more of it to occur, ladies and gentlemen. They tried the same thing with the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, Mr. Hyde. They started bringing up all kinds of sordid things from his past, not thinking for 1 minute that Mr. Hyde is not in danger of being impeached. Mr. Hyde has broken no laws. Mr. Hyde has not lied under oath. Mr. Hyde has not obstructed justice. Mr. Hyde has not tampered with witnesses. What the Democrat Party is doing, ladies and gentlemen, is pulling back the veil and showing their true character. Now we can see that they crawl up out of the sewer. They have no honor. They have no morals. They have no ethics whatsoever. None at all. And in the meantime, the vast herds of sheeple across the United States are glued to the communist news networks, soaking in all the propaganda, watching the bombs falling on Baghdad in a hysterical stupor. No, they're not jumping around, shouting and screaming, but they are relishing every moment of it. And all over the country, you see the fools, you see the sheeple darting in and out, carrying out their daily routine and their business activities and their shopping, and doing it in a hurry so that they can get back to the television set. They don't want to miss a moment of this. And you hear them as they pop through the door. We're kicking their ass. We're getting those Iraqi terrorists. Boy, we're really killing them. As if that's something to really be proud of. These people are fools. No doubt about it whatsoever. They are stupid and ignorant beyond belief. I fought a war. And the President tells us that he attacked when he did. When he did. so that it can all be over by Ramadan, which is a major religious holiday for the members of the Islamic religion, the Arab peoples. As if to say, we don't want to disturb your holidays, and so we'll just kill as many of you as we possibly can, destroy your homes, your businesses, your factories, your nation, your bridges, your roads, so that you can celebrate Ramadan sitting in rubble, mourning your dead children and relatives and neighbors. What an incredible, stupid statement that was for him to make. It's as if he thinks he's talking to a herd of cattle out in some field somewhere where no one with any brains can hear him. It is amazing. You will remember, ladies and gentlemen, last night, what did I warn you of? I've warned you of this in the past. I warned you that Russia is Iraq's ally. Today, Russia presented a very serious, very heavy objection, condemnation of the attack upon Iraq to the United Nations in the Security Council. They then sent a message to Washington, warning Washington to stop it. Everyone has ignored these warnings from Russia. At 15 minutes until 5 Mountain Standard Time this afternoon, Russia recalled its ambassador from Washington and placed all of its military forces on full alert. All of the military forces in Russia are on full alert. You see, this could be the answer to Russia's economic collapse. None of their military has been paid for over a year. Some of them for almost 2 years have not been paid. The Russian people are in the depths of a deep depression. Their currency has been devalued and devalued and devalued and devalued and devalued yet again. Most of Russia's banks are closed. Rubles are blowing through the streets in the wind because the Russian people have thrown them away. They will not use them. They barter or use American dollars that they have hoarded over the years. And still, the world is ignoring this, and I'm telling you it is very, very serious. Very serious, ladies and gentlemen.
Did you say something? He said oil can.
Oh, no.
Here he is.
Oh, no, they're going to wake him up.
Where do you want to be oiled first?
He's got an axe.
He said his mouth.
Forest. It's dark and creepy.
Of course, I don't know, but I think it'll get darker before it gets lighter.
Do you suppose we'll meet any wild animals?
We might. Animals that eat straw hawks?
Some, but mostly lions and tigers and bears.
Lions?
And tigers?
And bears.
Lions and tigers and bears. Oh, my.
Lions and tigers and bears.
Oh, my.
Lions and tigers and bears.
Oh, my.
Lions and tigers and bears.
Oh, my.
Lions and tigers and bears.
Oh, my.
Put 'em up. Which one are you first? I'll fight you both together if you want. I'll fight you with one paw tied behind my back. I'll fight you standing on one foot. I'll fight you with my eyes closed. Oh, pulling necks on me, eh? Sneaking up on me, eh? Why?
Here. Go away and let us alone.
Oh, scared, huh? Afraid, huh? How long can you stay fresh in that can? Come on, get up and fight, you shivering junkyard. Put your hands up, you lopsided bag of hay.
Now, that's getting personal, Lion.
Yes. Get up and teach them a lesson.
Well, what's wrong with you teaching them?
Well, I hardly know them.
I'll get you anyway, Pee-wee.
Shame on you.
What did you do that for? I didn't buy them.
No, but you tried to. It's bad enough picking on a straw man, but when you go around picking on poor little dogs.
Well, you didn't have to go and hit me, did you? Is my nose bleeding?
Well, of course not. My goodness, what a fuss you're making. Well,
Who's the lion? Who's the Tin Man? Who's Dorothy? Who's Toto? Who's the Scarecrow? In this little scenario that we find ourselves witnessing since yesterday afternoon. Do you know? Do you care? What is William Jefferson Clinton going to do if Russia plops an atomic bomb on New York City? What's he going to do if Russia plops an atomic bomb in the middle of their battle group in the Persian Gulf? What's William Jefferson Clinton going to do if Russia sends its MiGs to give Iraq air support? Against our Air Force, Naval Air Forces, and Marine Air Forces in the Middle East. What's he going to do if that happens? And if you think it's far-fetched, it's not at all, ladies and gentlemen. The situation Russia finds itself in today could look at this as their salvation, to establish them once again as a superpower in the world, to cure their economic woes, to give their military something to do other than plot revolt against the government in Russia because they have received no pay. And because we have attacked Iraq when Iraq was threatening no one and has fired no shot at anyone, Russia would have the moral high ground. (520-333-4578). What do you think about all of this? Where do you think it's going? What do you think is going to happen? Do you think that because now the Democrats have attacked Bob Livingston, the new Speaker-elect of the House of Representatives, that the Republicans will back down from impeaching William Jefferson Clinton? Let's hear from you. Good evening, you're on the air.
Good evening, Mr. Cooper. How are you?
I need you to talk a lot louder.
Yes, sir. How are you doing tonight? I tell you what, they've really drawn out all the weapons, haven't they? This country's in such a moral morass. It is just unbelievable. I believe the good Lord's going to do a little bit of punishing on all of us.
I don't think the good Lord's going to do anything.
You don't?
No, I think the good Lord is going to let us suffer the stupidity of ourselves. Why would he come down? Why would he have anything to do with us?
No, that's what I'm saying. He's going to allow us to just go ahead and rot from within like we're doing, like Sodom and Gomorrah did. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I tend to agree with you. I don't think God looking down from anywhere, no matter what your conception of God might be, even if it's just some force that exists in the universe, I don't think God would be proud of his creation here on this earth, nor would I think he would want anything to do with it.
Absolutely not. And I was hearing a little bit on the TV a while ago before you came on that this may have something to do. Remember Larry Flint here a few months ago offered $1 million to anybody who could produce some pictures or some kind of evidence of Republicans in awkward positions. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes.
And they were alluding that this may be it. And any moron out there who thinks this is coincidental to come out tonight and the Democrats didn't have anything to do with it?
There's no coincidence about it.
I'm sorry?
There's no coincidence about it.
And just like there was no coincidence at the bombing yesterday. I mean, anybody who wants to argue that point, I don't have time for you. I don't have time for you in my life. It goes for anybody who thinks that what happened yesterday was just, Bill Clinton just deciding, hey, well, something important's come up. You're nuts. And people who espouse that view, which evidently there's a lot of people out there that do,
Oh, but don't you understand? We're kicking their ass, man. Oh, we're really getting them.
Yeah, at night when they're asleep and innocent women and children just like we have. And then when we have a terrorist attack on this country, which is inevitable, as you say, I mean, whether it's legitimately done or manufactured by who.
What's the difference between blowing up the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City, regardless of how it was done or who did it, or in the middle of the night, by complete surprise, with no warning whatsoever, a 2,000-pound cruise missile comes through the roof of your home and blows you to smithereens?
I myself think there's no difference whatsoever, but I'm in a minority opinion in this country.
Well, I don't think so.
And
I think the attitude of the American people portrayed on the communist news networks is a lie, because I don't know anybody who thinks that this is all great and wonderful.
Well, we now have 4 branches of government. A lot of people don't tend to forget that. We have the judicial, executive, and legislative, and the media, just like certain other people did in history. The media has become a wing of the government. I don't know if you agree or disagree with me.
Oh, absolutely, I agree.
I've seen it happen in the last 30 years, big time, and they are a powerful wing because you have this thing called the Baal altar, which everybody wants to watch all night long, and unfortunately, visual images really stir people to emotions. And you have all these Hollywood clowns, these drug addicts, homosexuals out there espousing their love for Bill Clinton. You have Alec Baldwin calling for Henry Hyde to be stoned on national TV the other night, and the audience applauding. And if you said something like that to a Democrat, they'd have your ass arrested, would they not?
Oh, yes, they would. But that's not as far as they went. He said, this guy, Alec Baldwin, said that he should be drugged out of his home, out of his bed, stoned, and they should drag his family out and stone them too. And the audience went berserk with applause and approval of what he said.
But it was just a joke.
No, it wasn't a joke. It wasn't a joke at all. And if they thought that they could get away with it, that's exactly what they would do.
Well, he did get away with it. He's not in jail, is he?
No, because he's on the side that decides what is politically correct and what is not.
Do you remember early on?
And who is politically correct and who is not?
When Bill Clinton was first elected, I forget who it was. I believe it was Jesse Helms made a comment that if he comes to Fort Bragg or somewhere, he has to have some extra security. They actually had FBI people come out there and interrogate him. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, but it's okay for a Hollywood leftist pig to make comments about someone on the right, right?
During a broadcast one night, somebody called in and said that Mrs. Carter, remember her?
No, I don't.
President Carter's wife?
Oh, Rosalind?
Rosalind Carter.
Right.
said that Rosalind Carter was coming to Phoenix.
Right.
And she was going to, I forget what she was going to do, but it was going to be something that was not in the best interest of Republican constitutional government. And I said, I think she ought to stay home. I don't think she should be coming to Phoenix and telling us how to run our state or what to do. Guess what? The Secret Service went to St. John's looking for me. Looking for me. I wasn't there.
Look, I'm not anti this government. I'm anti all governments because all governments use and abuse their people.
Well, I've got to disagree with you. We must have government to protect us from ourselves.
I agree with that, but I'm just saying all governments, the way they're instituted today, hey, we have an enemy, you need to sign up when you're 18, or excuse me, we will forcibly induct you like I was in 1972 and tell you who your enemy is of the moment.
Well, they can't forcibly induct you. You see, no one can ever force you to sign a contract or to take an oath. And if you refuse to sign the contract or take an oath, there's nothing they can do to you. They cannot put you in jail, cannot prosecute you.
Well, when you're 18, like I was in 72, and they tell you, you get that letter that says you will come in or you will go to jail. I mean,
They're right. They're right. You do have to go in, but you do not have to sign the contract, and you do not have to take the oath.
I see where you're coming from.
You do have to go in.
You're still kind of scared. Well, I was every bit as afraid as Bill Clinton, no doubt, was. But I win.
Let me tell you what you were. You were an ignorant sheeple who did not understand the law, and so you went in when they told you to sign the contract, you did, and when they told you to raise your right hand and take the oath and take one step forward, you did that too.
Absolutely. And I don't hold anything against President Clinton for being scared. Most of us were. But to go leave the country, protest against this country, then come back to be the commander-in-chief where he has the right to ask my son, whom I have a son, to go in one day to do something he wouldn't do, forget about it, dude. It ain't going to happen.
Well, I agree with you there. This man should not be sending our American forces into harm's way anywhere after what he did in dodging the draft and condemning military service.
And to bomb Iraq like he's doing right near their holiest time, I mean, let's get real here. To save his hide.
Did you know that during his first term in office, he actually degraded the military uniform of the United States and insulted the officer corps of the United States military by using officers as servants in the White House?
Yes, I do. I remember that.
Isn't that despicable? And now he's sending those officers into harm's way to take a chance on dying because he wants to save his presidency. This man is despicable. He is lower than the lowest thing on the face of this earth that I can think of, and that's at the bottom of the sea.
Have a good evening, Bill.
Thank you for calling. 520-333-4578. During the judicial hearings in the House, it was brought up by one of the Democrats on the Judicial Committee that he had never misused his power by having the government go after somebody. That's a lie, and I'm living proof. He had my FBI file in the White House, and he ordered the FBI, FinCEN, and the Internal Revenue Service to investigate me and my family. All three investigations began on the same day by the order of the President. Good evening, you're on the air.
Man, I like this show.
And the reason he did it, ladies and gentlemen, is because he considers me to be the most dangerous radio host in America because I tell the truth.
You probably are.
Who are you?
Jim from Virginia.
Hi, Jim.
I like this show. But I got to say, when you just said something, and it really hit home. It almost seemed too obvious that he is bombing just to save his presidency. I think you really hit it on the head when you said he was directed to bomb Iraq when he was visiting Israel.
Oh, yes.
And it just so happens that I'm almost thinking that this impeachment is a good cover for the Zionists wanting, or whomever, to bomb Iraq. Do you know what I'm saying? In other words, not so much that it's...
Well, the impeachment came about to pull Bill Clinton back into line when he began to dictate to Israel what territory they were going to give up and when and how much and how many troops they were going to pull out, and forced the Prime Minister of Israel to shake hands with Yasser Arafat in front of television in the Rose Garden while the whole world was watching. What an unbelievable embarrassment.
And that's why, after listening to you just now, I think that the impeachment trial and everything was a nice cover to bomb Iraq. Do you know what I'm saying? In other words, well, good, we'll bomb Iraq, and now the people will say, oh, he did it just to delay his impeachment, when, in fact, it was a nice cover so that they could...
Oh, you give the American sheeple too much credit. Way too much credit. They don't need that kind of deception.
You don't think so?
No, they believe whatever they're told on the communist news networks, no matter what it is.
But I think it was very interesting that the timing to bomb Iraq, I believe you're right. He was told to bomb Iraq, and boom, he did it. The other thing is Filegate, I think, is where they're getting all this information on Livingston and all these other people.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That's why there are warrants out for the arrest of me and my wife right now, because they were told to get me no matter what it takes and shut me up and get me off the air. They did not understand that I wasn't going to cooperate in their little scheme.
Well, can you believe...
And they did not understand, nor did they have any knowledge in their wildest dreams that I know what the law really says, and they were not guilty of any crimes.
That's amazing. The fact that the president was able to get everybody's file that he wanted, and now they're using it against people. I'm going to assume I can't imagine what else they'd be doing with these files, but if they wanted information on you or Hyde or Livingston, and now they're using it against them. And, nobody's doing anything. What's the star?
That's because Zionism has a stranglehold upon Washington, D.C. There's no doubt about it. William Sessions, when he was the director of the FBI, he held a press conference. I was watching on CNN when he had that press conference. Guess what he said at the press conference?
What's that?
He said that there is a Jewish underground in the United States of America that is directly threatening the national security.
Sessions said that?
Sessions said that. He said it on television. I watched it. It was a press conference.
So what's the reason?
The next time we saw Sessions, his arm was in a sling, it had been broken, and he was announcing his resignation as director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Guess who replaced him?
Are you serious? His arm was broken?
His arm was broken. It was in a sling, yes.
And
he was announcing his resignation as director of the FBI.
Well, I knew they put a Jewish guy in there. Free.
And then Free turned over any and all FBI records that the White House demanded.
This is incredible.
It's not incredible. It's the truth, and it was done right in front of the American people, right under their nose, publicly, without even anybody saying a thing except for people like me.
How about it? I tell you,
I did a whole show on that.
And this is just the tip of the iceberg, I suspect.
Oh, it's just a little bitty tip of the iceberg.
So this ADL is really maybe a spy network, I guess.
The ADL is exactly a spy network. They were caught in California.
Yeah, I think one of your earlier shows had mentioned that.
And the Attorney General of the state of California was prosecuting them, and then all of a sudden, what happened?
I guess you dropped it.
The whole thing disappeared.
I can't believe this thing about... yes, I shouldn't say him. So Sessions' arm was broken and he was resigning. Amazing. Well, one last thing, I just had a question. You said the officers were used as servants. Do you mean that they were actually...
Yes, this was on the front page of the newspapers. How did you miss that?
Well, I don't have a television to read newspapers anymore. That's kind of bad. But you're saying that they were waiting on tables like a waiter.
Waiting on tables. Carrying trays with drinks.
Oh, my God. Amazing.
Serving food.
How about that? Well, I do look at the front page in the comics, and I must have missed it that time, but there's so much of this going on. I'm glad your show's here, is all I can say. I pick up the important things.
Well, thank you.
And I'd like to thank you for your show, and by the way, I started using that Dr. Wallach stuff, and finally got it about 2 days ago. In about a month or two, I'll let you know the results.
Okay, did you send in and get your stuff from us?
Yeah. So.
Huh?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
How did you? And you're taking it already?
I just came yesterday.
Just what came?
Well, I ordered it.
From where? If you didn't order it through us, you're not supporting this broadcast.
Yes, I did. In other words,
You couldn't have.
And I ordered it.
You couldn't have. Because you can't order anything through us until you get the information pack from us, and you fill out the associate application and send it back to us, and we send it in. So you ordered it from somebody else. Who did you order it from?
One of the numbers that was given off, I'm pretty sure that I looked it up on the internet and called in.
So you're not supporting the broadcast. You ordered it from someplace off the internet.
Give me. Are you kidding? Oh, I'm sorry about. You're not on the internet. I thought it was all under the same thing.
No.
Oh, I'm an idiot. What is the number so I can see about changing that then?
It's 1-888-403-2405. 1-888-403-2405. Now, I don't care if you get it from somewhere else, but if you want to support this broadcast, you need to do it through us.
Absolutely.
Because no matter where you get it from, somebody, whoever you're purchasing it from, is making whatever profit there is in that little sale.
Sorry about that, because I heard you broadcast. I said, this is great. I looked it up on the internet and then just called in through that. Oh, boy. Never mind. I'm going to change this. I apologize about that because.
Well, you don't need to apologize because you don't have to do anything through us. I just thought that if you are a listener who wants to support the broadcast, that you might want to know how to do that.
That's exactly right, and that's what I'm apologizing for. Let me get off of this phone here. I feel bad now.
Don't feel bad.
Well, I do because I think it's important that your broadcast be supported.
Well, I think it's important that you're getting your health back together. That's what's really important. And if you can do it by, supporting this broadcast along with it, then that's a plus for everybody. But it's more important that you get healthy than it is supporting this broadcast.
Okay, because I tell you, when I called up the number, I said I got it. I got it from Hour at the Time, and obviously that.
They don't care about that. They didn't even say anything about that. They just signed you right up, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You see? It's called greed.
Oh, God.
Whereas I tell you, you're welcome to go anywhere that you want to go, but if you want to support this broadcast, you should do it through us. They don't tell you that. They just.
My intention, since you are who I heard about this through.
And by the way, whoever he signed up with was not Dr. Wallach. It was some page owned by some associate who is doing business with Dr. Wallach, just as we are, on the internet.
Okay. Well, maybe this is a lesson for anybody else who's as foolish as me out there who wants to support you and then just hooks it up on the internet. Okay, well, I will listen to the rest of your broadcast, and I'm going to see if I can get this thing changed so you get the money.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Well, it won't be me. It will be the broadcast.
And that's what I mean, the broadcast.
And that's a non-profit thing. Thank you for calling.
Bye-bye.
520-333-4578. All we do, folks, is try to just make enough to pay for everything. You have no idea what the expenses are of broadcasting. Good evening. You're on the air.
Hey, Bill. Matt here.
Hello, Matt.
Audio good?
Yeah.
Let's just hope Willie doesn't get the Korean flu as well, if you know what I mean.
Well, he might get that too. I mean, he's really making a lot of people very angry. He's uniting the entire communist world and against him.
Not in addition to hardcore commies, also just the more or less drift with the wind third world countries too. I mean, these poor countries, they see this rich country bombing hell out of some poor country.
And they don't like it. Just like, most Americans don't like it. Most Americans usually will root for the underdog. And if Iraq hadn't really fired at anybody or hurt anybody, you'll find that if you sit down with somebody and they got a microphone under their nose and they know they're on the Communist News Network and everybody's watching them, they'll say what they're expected to say. But you sit down with them when that microphone and that camera's gone and ask them what they really think, and they're going to tell you this is a bunch of crap.
Well, I've been hanging with some relatives on vacation, and they're older, and they're extremely law-abiding, and and they are listeners of CNN and readers of the New York Times or the Atlanta Constitution or you name one, and even they, and I'll quote one tonight, said, "I think Clinton is mentally disturbed," unquote. Even people, even mainstream people that we would normally refer to as sheep or sleepers are beginning to get worried about Clinton.
Yeah. Well, it becomes obvious after a while. Don't you think?
You look at his face on television over this past week. It's just like you're looking at another person.
Oh yeah, it's like I said at the beginning of the broadcast. It looks like somebody just smacked him right between the eyes with a 2x4.
Well, I really shouldn't chuckle about it because it's very serious and very dangerous.
Yes, it is.
That's what people appreciate yet, but I think within the next week or two they may come to appreciate it.
Yes, they may.
Well, gonna turn it loose, fella.
Thank you.
Good. Merry Christmas to you and yours. Okay.
Merry Christmas.
Bye bye.